Ah, my biggest, my biggest pride, my proudest moment as a producer, quite frankly. I mean, I love Bitty and everything, but Gregory is my favorite artist. Night Nurse is a great album. Oh, What a Feeling, all these songs. I mean, and and Gregory participated in my North African Meet Jamaica project, and that's one of the best songs. It's a long story, but okay. Uh, in 1999, I asked Flabba Holt to record 15 Gregory Isaacs rhythms because I wanted to do a tribute album to Gregory Isaacs with the Roots Redics. Because back
Okay.
then, Stan Scott was still alive. Um, Dwight Pickney, all the Roots Redics were still playing together. So we booked studio time at Lego Studio on Orange Street, and Bravo recorded, and they recorded like over a 3 hour period of time. They recorded 15 Gregory songs. So the entire Night Nurse album plus seven others. And the idea was to record, Mighty Diamonds, Bunny Ruggs, whosoever, and some new singers from back then, Shalom, and others. And so we started recording the singers over the rhythms. And Gregory was a frequent visitor to Lego Studio, so he saw what was going on, and he asked Bravo, who was my partner with that project. He asked Bravo to call me. So one day I get a call from Bravo. He says, somebody wants to talk to you. And hey, this is Gregory. Wow, Gregory Isaacs. And and he said, I hear you're doing a Gregory album. I, I said, yes, sir. You're my favorite artist, and I would, if you allow me, I would love to. He said, yeah, man, yeah, man. And he said, all right, I want to sing on it. I said, Gregory, it's a tribute to Gregory. You can't be on your own a tribute to yourself. And then I realized, shit, what am I doing? This is Gregory Isaacs telling me he wants to sing. Who am I to say no to Gregory, Roots Radix, and so forth? So I said, all right, do take any rhythm you want and sing on it. And so he did Tiferman
Uh-huh.
and Tune In. And I got a demo mix of Tiferman from Bravo, who came to Paris. When he came to mix the Uroy album, he brought some demos with him. And I played that to a guy, an A&R guy at Virgin Records in Paris, who was A&R for all the hip hop scene in Paris. Most of the hip hop was signed to Virgin in the late 90s, early thousands. And he said, I work with this artist called Doug Gineco, and he's a huge fan of Gregory. I said, oh, all right, cool, no problem. And then 2 days later, the guy calls me and says, all right, Doug Gineco heard it. He wants to do a combination with Gregory on his next album. I said, well, sure. I mean, why not? But it's not really designed for this. He said, how much money do you want? And then I said, okay. And I sold it. I sold the non-exclusive rights to do a combination with that French rapper for major money, major record company money. Like hip hop money,
Mm-hmm.
not reggae money. And so I called Gregory. I said, well, Gregory, I sold the rights to do a combination with this French rapper, and here is your share. And I sent him the money, and it was like, I didn't have to do that because, that was my track, my production, and so forth. But I wanted to give back to Gregory because Gregory is a great guy. So he really appreciated it. And he said, well, anytime you come to Jamaica, come check me and so forth. And every time I went to Jamaica, I would call, I mean, Bravo would call Gregory, or I would call Gregory, and he would come to the studio and say hi. Just, hi Robbie, hi Guillaume, and I was really honored because he didn't have to do that. But Gregory was a bad boy, but he was a very well mannered person and very intelligent, very sharp, and a great guy. Too bad he was drug addict, and uh, but apart from that, he was a great guy. And so when we were recording the this Horace and the album,
Yeah.
he at Harry J. Sly and Robbie were recording a rhythm for Horace. Horace voiced "I'm Alive" on it, and I thought this rhythm is so good. I'm gonna call Gregory, and Gregory came, heard the rhythm, spat some lyrics on it, and left. And and I said, "Well, I'm sorry, I don't have the money to pay you," and so forth. He said, "No problem, I'll come back tomorrow." The following day he comes, he hears some other rhythms, and says, "I want to voice this one." So, all right. And I had totally forgotten to go get money at the bank. And after he voiced like three or four songs, I said, "Gregory, I'm sorry. I fucked up. I didn't bring the money." And he looked at me, and for a split second, I was thinking, "Oh shit, is he gonna kill me or is he gonna be cool?" And he had a small smile in his eyes, not on his face, but on his eyes. And
Yeah.
he said, "All right, come at 1 a.m. at my place with my money." And we were talking about, several hundred, maybe a couple $1,000. I don't remember. And I said, 1 in the morning? And I don't know where you live. It says, get Bravo to drive you. So we went to his place at 1 in the morning, and his house was the only house that was built with bricks and, like a normal, regular house, in the middle of a ghetto, zinc fence everywhere, and really shacks and not houses, and little streets that went like this, and I mean, cutthroat. So we got let in the compound because he had a big wall around the house, and he had people manning the gate and so forth, even if it was 2 in the morning. Crazy. And we were asked to wait in a waiting room like for 10 minutes, and then some guy came and says, "Mr. Isaacs will see you." It's like crazy. And then Gregory was sitting on his desk with a phone, like a businessman, and he said, "Oh, you bring my money." I said, "Yes, sir, I bring your money." I gave him an envelope. He didn't even look at it. He said, "Thank you." Boom. And we started chit chatting, and he said, "You want to hear my next album?" I said, "Yeah." you know, and yeah, I have a studio in my house, he said, and so we thought there was a room with isolation, insulation, sounds, and so forth, and we he just took us to the next room, which was the same room as the first room, except on the table there was not a phone and a lamp. There was a mixing board this big, like a very small my first mixing board. It was like, how are we going to hear anything on that? And there was no soundproofing, no nothing, and it was the floor had no carpeting, and it was just poor acoustics. And for some reason it sounded good, you know. And it was the songs from the album Brand New Me that came out about a year before he passed,
Yeah.
you know, much later than the sessions were done at Harry J. But I recognized the songs when I bought his CD, and that's the illustration of the Jamaican genius. Out of nothing, they make something. You know, they
Yeah.
don't have money, and most of the music is done on really cheap equipment, but they make it sound fat. They make it sound authentic, and it sells enough to sustain their lifestyle. You know, it feeds families, and and look how reggae was developed over the years. I mean, you had this little island of 2 million people producing a ton of music, and nobody cared about that type of music except some dude like Bonnie Lee went to London with his bags full of music and played it to the diaspora over there, and they established a network throughout the world of buyers and sellers, and there was an economy built, you know, and it's very informal. It's very I mean, those are not Nobel prizes, those guys, but they have an energy, they have an acumen, they have a passion, um, a drive that is admirable.